Hi, and welcome back to another video. And in this video we're going to take a look at using the really small message broker. And if you remember back to an earlier video, the really small message broker is capable of actually acting as a MQTT-SN broker and also a gateway. And we're going to look at using the broker in both modes. We're going to look at using it as a broker, where we're going to be sending data into it using MQTT-SN and receiving it using MQTT-SN. And then we're going to look at using it as a gateway, where we send it in as MQTT-SN and we receive it with a client connected over here using MQTT. I'm going to be running the really small message broker on the Raspberry Pi, and I've created a directory there called RSMB. If you can see that, it's very faint, and there's a couple of files in there. There's the broker, which is actually the MQTT broker, and there's the MQTT-S broker, which is the one we want, which is the MQTT-SN broker and gateway, and that's the one we're going to be running. And I've got a configuration file which I've called test.txt. This is the file. You can see we're using 1883, which is the standard port for MQTT, and 1885 for MQTT-SN. We're also advertising on this multiclass group, and sorry, there it is there, and using port 1884 for that. And we'll be looking at that in one of the scripts, where we'll actually be picking up the advertising broadcast, and we'll be using that advertising broadcast to configure the client to connect to the broker. And you'll see that in a second when I start it up. And here we are here, and I just started up with .broker MQTT-S and test.txt to tell it to use that configuration file. And there it is, it's running, and you can see it's advertising. It's the fact that it's a gateway. You can see the advertising broadcast there. And as I say, we'll be picking up that advertising broadcast in the message, and we'll be demonstrating how to use that to configure the client so he can connect to the gateway. The client scripts, and I'm going to take you through a few of these just to illustrate how they work. And we're going to start off with what I call a utility script, and it's this one here, the multicast scan script. And if I open that up in the Python IDE, and you can see here the multicast group is what we were advertising on here, and the port we're advertising on for the multicast is 1884. And what this script will do is basically listen on this port and on this multicast group, and it will publish what it sees. And it's just a quick test, or a quick test script should I say, to prove that the gateway is working. And if I run it, you'll see the results of it. There you go, it's picked up the gateway. The gateway is advertising itself. Its IP address 192.168.171, and it's port 1885. And we've got a script there, gateway discovery, and what that will do is discover the gateway, configure the client to use that gateway, and then start publishing messages to that gateway. And I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so there's the gateway discovery script. So here's our script. This here is a very important line here. I need to set the syspath because I haven't used the pip install for this. I've just copied the appropriate files, which are these files here, MQTT-SN client and MQTT-SN. I've copied them into a directory, and I have to tell Python where that directory is, and they're stored in this directory here. So you'll have to adjust yours depending on where you're going to store your file. Okay, we've got a callback class here. The callbacks use a class, and if you actually look at the client script file, you'll see the class defined in there, and it has got all the callbacks defined. And what we're going to do here is we're going to overwrite those callbacks. We're going to overwrite the advertised callback here in this script here. And in other scripts you'll see we'll be overriding the on message received callback. And so we subclass it basically. So here's our new class, my callback, and it uses the callback class. And you can see we'll set that further down here. And here you can see we register it here, client.register the callback down here. We have to set the ports. You can see I'm using them here, setting the ports there. You'll see lots of comments in the script because it's a demo script, and I'm using it to also work with the other gateway, the official gateway that you can download from the Paho site, or sorry, the Eclipse site. Okay, so here we create our client. This is very similar to the standard MQTT. I'm using this here to print out the threads. Again, this is just for demo. And we call the find gateway function, and we pass it in the ports, and then we start a loop. This is actually a different loop. This is a gateway loop, so I've actually got two loops, one for the gateway and one for the standard received messages. And while not gateway found, then we print waiting for it, and once the gateway is found, we drop out of here. We pick up the message from the gateway, and we configure our host to the first one and the port to the second one, and then we connect here using that information, and then we wait for the connection acknowledge. And the scripts use a look for wait for mechanism. So first we look for the connection acknowledge here, and then we wait for it. Now I have done the client class, so you can actually use the same syntax as used in the MQTT client, where you can actually set the client connected flag, which I've done here, and instead of using the look for wait for, we can just look for this to be set to true. So we can wait for the client connected flag to be true before we proceed. So you can actually get rid of all that, and you can use that flag instead. But in the demo scripts I'm using this, and I'm using this because this was the way the original client was written in Python 2.7. It was written using this mechanism. Okay, now we're going to print, and so we're going to publish. So we need the topic ID. So we got the topic ID here, topic of test, and we have to register that topic ID. And when we get we have to register that topic name, and when we register it, we get a topic ID back. And once we got the topic ID, we can publish on that topic ID, and you can see here further down here we're publishing on that topic ID here. And I'm going to publish 5 messages, and I'm going to quit. So let's run it and see what happens. So we're waiting for the gateway. Now we found the gateway. Now we're connecting to it and waiting for the connection acknowledge. We register our topic ID, and then we start publishing the messages. So that worked okay. Okay, let's quit all that, and we'll go on to the subscribe. So let's take you through this again. This line here to set the sys path. We're importing our client class. Now this uses, again, you can see here the class myCallback. We're subclassing this callback class, and this time we're overwriting the message arrived callback. This is for the received messages. We've got a queue function here, because what we do is we drop the message in a queue here at the top, and then further down in the program we'll empty the queue. So we call this empty queue function. It basically just prints out the messages. I've hard coded the host and port in there. So client, create the client, set a flag, register the callback as we did before. Again, I've got the threads just out of interest. Set another flag, the client connected, which I'm not using. Then I connect to here, client connect, and again I use the same look for, wait for, which is here, look for the connection acknowledge and wait for it. And then we drop through, we start a loop so we can process the callback messages. And the topic is MQTT-SN test, and for subscribing we just subscribe to it. You can see the client subscribe, quality of service 1. and we get a reason code and we get a topic ID. So if the reason code is none, we failed. If it's 0, we're okay. And the topic ID we can use if we were publishing to the same topic that we're actually subscribing to. We could use that with the published message instead of registering that topic. But we're not, so we're just subscribing, and that's it. This is going to sit there and wait. So let me run that. Okay, it's subscribed and we're sitting there waiting. So let's go on to the publish. And there's the publish here. Notice I haven't used the callback here because we don't need it for the publish. Again, we're hard coding in our host and port. Very similar to the subscribed one, except here we register the topic and we get a topic ID back, and we use that topic ID to publish, which we do here. So I'm just going to publish 20 messages, and I'm publishing on the same topic as I'm subscribing to, so we should see those messages on the subscribed, which we've left running. So let's run it. So there it is, published. And if we go back to the other script, if I can ever find it, there's the published one, and there's the received one. You can see it's received there and published. There's side by side. So publish and subscribe are working okay. Close them all off. Now what I've got here is a publish and subscribe on SN, which is the MQTT-SN. So this is just going to publish and subscribe on MQTT-SN, and I won't demonstrate that. I'll just leave that. This is the one I want to show you. This is the publish and subscribe on MQTT-SN and MQTT. Now the idea here is I have an MQTT-SN client which I publish messages using, and I also subscribe to messages. And then I have an MQTT client and I publish messages, and again I subscribe to the messages, and we publish to we publish and subscribe to the same messages. So the idea is we get a message going from an MQTT-SN client to an MQTT client, and we get the opposite, a message going from the MQTT client to the MQTT-SN client. So that's demonstrating the gateway functionality of the really small message broker. So let's open our first script. I just opened it. Let's hit this one here. It's the publish subscribe MQTT. So this is going to publish and subscribe on MQTT, not MQTT-SN. You can see it here. We're using the same broker, but you can see we're using a different client. We're using the standard MQTT client, and we're going to use topic 1 MQTT-SN test topic and topic 2 MQTT test topic, and with this topic, with this client, we're going to subscribe on topic 2 and we're going to publish on topic 1. Topic 1 is the MQTT-SN test and topic 2 is the MQTT test. And with the other client, which is the MQTT-SN client, we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to be publishing on topic 2 and subscribing on topic 1. So let me run this. It doesn't matter which one you run first. So we're publishing messages from MQTT, and let's go on to the other client and run it. Now we're publishing messages here, and you can see straight away it's receiving those messages from the MQTT client. And if I go back to the other window, you can see it's receiving messages. So here those two windows side by side, you can see they're publishing, both are publishing and both are receiving messages from the other. So that's publishing from an MQTT-SN client to an MQTT client, and publishing from an MQTT client and being received by an MQTT-SN client, which is basically demonstrating the gateway functionality of the really small message broker. Okay, it's a bit difficult to actually keep track of it because it's so much going on there, but if you download the scripts and you try them yourself, then you can see it more clearly. And okay, that's all I wanted to cover in this video. And as I say, the scripts are available for download and you can use them for whatever purpose you want to. And if you got any comments on the video, then please use the comment form below. If you like the video, then click on the like button below. And if you want to get notified of any videos to the channel, then you can always subscribe, and feel free to share this video on social media if you use social media. Until the next time, goodbye.